Hello, my name's Sean, I'm from Beyond the Hood Cosplay, and I'm here with Carl Newman.
Hello there, good afternoon, and pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, it is, and it's amazing meeting you. You are legendary.
Well, I'm just so touched by your kind words, and I think, it's so wonderful now my story's been out there and more people have got to hear about my contributions on Batman and the difference I made, because it takes an awful lot, to give that character the complete roundness and finesse that he needs. And it's not a one-dimension character, is it? There's this finesse and this elegance and this strength, but also this fluidity of him working in the suit, which I was very much renowned for. So I'm loving to tell that story about how it all came about.
Yeah. There's something I want to ask you that's just before Batman. I read somewhere online that you are a professional, back in the day you were a professional dancer that did freelancing in a lot of different kind of medias.
Yes.
What sort of led you to that path of career?
Yeah. Well, I was someone that loved so many facets of the Hollywood and the British scene, in terms of the music, the dance, the acting. I started off playing drums as well. That was another thing that led me into the dance. But really, it was this kind of interest that I gained from a young person, through my parents, and then thinking that, I wanted to do more of that, so with the drumming and then the dancing, and then I started to do it as a hobby. And then a lot of my friends were going off and auditioning in London, so I thought, the time is right now for me to do that. So I took that course of action. But yeah, it was that fulfillment of being able to, certainly for someone like myself that loves the variety, I wanted to do short contracts in film, television, commercial, video, theatre, trade shows. And so when I got signed up with the agents, then they were able to fulfill that by sending me to lots of auditions and me being able to get these contracts. And so that really whet my appetite, that I was able to do such a rich variety. And consequently from that, the Batman film came about, and it was ideal for me because I'd also had an athletic background, so combined with the dance I was able to bring that whole sense to the character of being someone who was very mobile, very functional, very fluid, very agile, and it's a standout for me, as the one for me, but I've done lots of other work, as you've probably read about in videos and commercials and things, but that was really a standout for me. And the fact that it stood this test of time is quite incredible now. Here we are 37 years later, and we're still really talking about it. And the fact that they've just recently done a 70mm showing of it, the original format. And I still see that my scenes are being shown. They may be being shown as a sort of a publicity still, to advertise the film itself, and that gives me such a great thrill as well. The fact that I'm in a lot of this photography as well as the filming. So I'm so glad that you looked at my background and that I've got this rich sort of depth of work that I've done, and that's made me who I am, because I'm a great believer in variety and working with all kinds of different people in a creative setting. But the fact that it may have been a pop video or a commercial or whatever doesn't matter to me, because it's that creative framework that goes into it, and it just makes it so interesting, so fulfilling.
And so you said about signing up to an agency. Was that what led you to finding out about the position of the body double for Michael Keaton's Batman?
It did, because as we know, we've only got to look at history and look at the fact that RoboCop was a ballet dancer that was inside, so it just shows that that skill set really lends itself, and it has done in Star Wars and Aliens. I mean, the main alien was a dancer who I know, and he was able to make that work incredibly well. But by being with an agent that is specific to those kind of areas, they know that when they get a call from a production company that said, look, we need to facilitate this character with having a dancer, because only a dancer will make him much more fluid and agile than everything else. So the fact that I was with this one particular agent, who were the most longest established agents in London, called Dancers, enabled me then to get the call. And then it's a case of, you're not given the job, you then have to still prove yourself. So you're going along for an initial meeting, and whether it's a casting, an audition of sorts, which was the case with me. I did then go for a fitting, but then I also had to show Tim Burton what I was capable of. So it had to be good enough for someone like him to say, yes, you are the man that I need.
I bet that was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, although I was running on adrenaline, and I think he's such a nice guy that you need adrenaline to run on anyway, because I think it creates that lovely kind of focus, and you're on high alert, primed and ready. But I think with Tim, because he was such a lovely guy, is a lovely guy, and he got a nice aura about him, he wanted you to excel. I mean, you felt that way, that he was on your side, and it was a case then of you just showing him what you were capable of. So I was fortunate as well, because I'd done a lot of fitness and training, that the suit and the cowl fitted me really, really well. But also the fact I was very, very much in the zone. I just believed the character so much, and assumed that part, and it portrayed it to Tim, and he just said, yes, you're the man. So that was incredible.
I don't know if this was if I read it correctly on online, but it said that there was two other body doubles, Dave and Sean McCabe and right. Dave Lee.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, how that happened was that Sean McCabe was the original stunt double. I came in then as a movement double, so they gave me a specific title which was away from the stunt category, which I was really thrilled about, because I was actually put in with the cast as well. I was specifically given the title of movement double because that was my skill set. And then Dave Lee came in because they reshot the martial arts, the fighting sequences, and he was an extra on set, but then John Peters found out that he had this martial arts background, so he came in as the fight double, but he did some stunt work as well. But Sean was the main stunt guy. As I say, I created this movement aspect, this movement language for Batman, which hadn't existed and hasn't existed since, which, it's a whole unique thing, because it's not crashing through things, which are great in their own way, and doing falls and things. But with me, I had that cape expertise, that wrangling. I had the expertise of moving so fluidly and so kind of effortlessly that it made that finesse, for Batman that hadn't existed and hasn't since. And I was just absolutely thrilled. So yes, 3 people in the bat suit as well as Keaton, which is quite something, which we'll never see the likes of again.
Oh no!
It's a unique thing by far.
And I want to ask about the modern sort of. I want to ask about the modern portrayal of Batman.
Yes,
who was it that did the most recent one? He was in Twilight.
Yes, Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson, that was his name. Yeah. What did you think of his sort of portrayal as Batman? Yeah,
well, I think you have to respect, all these other iterations of Batman, and it's unkind to be negative about them, because they can't be the same. It's a new director as well. Matt Reeves, of course, on that one, and we've had Schumacher, we've had Christopher Nolan, etc. It's very good to embrace what they're doing, but I think ultimately you can't shy away from where your allegiance lies, you know.
Yeah.
And certainly with me, I think Michael is the ideal Batman Bruce because of his cerebral abilities, you know, and his abilities as an actor to be very deep and very kind of purposeful and believable. So he will remain the one, and I think it's when he's been interviewed, he's always felt which is understandable. But I've appreciated them, and I think the thing is that, you know, again, if you've got the Tim Burton direction as well, and he's a master of that Gothic, isn't he? And certainly other people have done very, very well. So I've certainly wanted to go and experience the films and take elements from them, and there may be parts that you like even more. But overall, I think even if I wasn't connected in any way to the Burtonverse, I would always move strongly in that direction because of those whole aspects. So the fact you've got Anton First, you've got Tim Burton, you've got Bob Ringwood on the costumes, you've got Jack Nicholson, which was just incredible. It's not to say Michelle Pfeiffer, I mean, she was brilliant, and some of the other people, but I think there's certainly been the standouts, and Michelle Pfeiffer would be my next person after Jack Nicholson and Danny DeVito as the villains, the Rose Gallery. But I think it's those elements that sway it for me, that marriage of those talents and the talent of all those special effects people at Pinewood, and the fact it was Pinewood, it just had everything for me. It was like the right timing, the right place, everything. The stars were aligned, being a cliche, but I just feel that everything came together on that one. And that's what I'm drawn to, and they're the ones. But I have seen the other films again and again, and just had another fresh look at it again, and it still takes my opinion to the Burton ones.
Yeah, it's really in detail. It's a great answer. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
Yeah, no.
It's those, isn't it? It's like when you've seen remakes, reboots of films, and you can say it's an age thing, possibly the generation that you're in, and I always agree with Michael Uslan that, you know, when he says it's dependent on what generation that you'll find perhaps your Batman. So in the Keaton era, or the Adam West, or the Pattinson, or the Affleck, or the Christian Bale, it will probably be that Batman that you will go with. But I think in terms of the finesse and the roundness of the character, that, you know, those Burton ones, certainly the one I worked on as well, we never used any CGI, really. I mean, there was a tiny bit of animation in the beginning, which was my scene that got deleted, but everything else we did for real. Yeah. You know, we did it, the whole shebang, you know. There was no safety measures, you know. It was very much on you to perform and take care of yourself, but it becomes much more believable then, because people can associate with it, that they're living through every moment with you. You know, they know that you're on a rooftop or whatever, and there's danger, but you're able to, you know, pull it off, quite honestly. So I think there's all those other elements as well, and maybe we always look at the gold standard. You know, like we'll always look at Christopher Reeve as being the Superman. You'll have other opinions, and that's to be respected and appreciated. But I think we have to give credit to Christopher Reeve and say, well, there was before him, of course, but he was the one who really propelled him even further, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for talking.
It's my pleasure.
Is there anything last you'd like to say to our audience?
No, just I hope you will go and re-watch the '89 film and see those scenes again, and just kind of look at it even more in that aspect, you know, that there's so much more that you can dissect. How you doing? Great to see you.
Yeah,
No,
we're almost
We're all
finished.
done, my friends. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Really is a pleasure.
Really
I'm
pleasure too.
glad you managed to come back and see me.